3, 2, 1, go!
Welcome everyone. You are listening to and perhaps watching Hot Sauce Sports in this edition of Hot Sauce Interviews. It is just myself, Peeze, and I'm joined by our producer, Eagle. Terry Tam gets a night off. He's been doing a lot of these interviews, bearing the brunt of that part of the work. Today I'm taking over, and joining us is Kenny Jean-Louis and Seth Amoah. They've got a new podcast out called Paving the Way. It is a basketball podcast. It's a podcast that is bilingual. It is about Canadian basketball. But I'll let you guys tell us a little bit about it. Seth, why don't you tell us a bit about the show and how it came to be?
By the way, thanks for having us. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
This is all new for us, and and we appreciate that. You probably were the first to contact us, and so that means that we're actually on the right path. And I appreciate for having us on the show.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure.
How it came to be? Actually, I think it's best if Kenny says it, because it was Kenny's idea back in February, and he explains it best. Yeah.
It's just like me. I'm a podcast junkie. Like basketball wise, I watch all the podcasts: The Ringer, Bill Simmons, Brian Windhorst, Ward. Everything, like everything. I listen and watch everything, all the podcasts. So just one day I had like a nap, and then I woke up and I was like, you know what? Like there's a bunch of podcasts in the States. There's some in Ontario, but there's not a lot of podcasts in Quebec. So why not have our own podcast talking about basketball? Because basketball is growing in Quebec. So right away I call Seth. Seth is one of my closest friends. We played together in university. So I call him. I say, hey, would you be down to start a podcast? And then he said, why not? He's a podcast junkie too. So, and right away, because I'm teaching in Toronto and Seth's in Montreal. And then because of everything that happened, I had to go back to Montreal, and we could actually like start right away, because I was thinking, you know what, that's something we're going probably going to do in June, July, when I'm going to be coming back during the summer. But because of everything that happened, right now I'm teaching online. So I'm back in Montreal. So we started right away, and that's it. That's even like easier. The fact that now we're using Zoom instead of trying to find a studio, all that stuff. So we have the even playing field that everyone else, like the fact that everyone else using Zoom. So that's what we started. And so far we had episode 3, and we're going to release episode 4 soon. So
that's awesome. Well, I was taking a listen, guys. I really am enjoying it. That's the thing with podcasting. Nobody tells you how long it takes to actually start up, how much research it takes, how much time it takes. So you guys no one's lucky in the pandemic, obviously, but it's kind of cool that it got you guys the opportunity. I work in education also. I'm an educational consultant, and so I'm feeling your pain, Kenny, and having to deal with this new reality.
Yeah.
How are you guys coping in general with the pandemic?
Go, Seth.
I'm home. I'm working from home. I'm actually I'm a sports and recreational coordinator.
Cool.
At a facility in on the Carry. It's near the Carry. And so I just take care of all the sports really there. So right now I'm working from home, and we're planning. I'm not only working in my, the sports field, but also different kind of fields within the center. So it's actually a blessing to be able to still work from home than what's going on. And just been, with my girlfriend and my kid. I have a almost 2-year-old daughter. So that's been I've been spending a lot of time with her. So so that's pretty good. So I mean, it's tough, especially since me and Kenny were basketball players, and retired basketball players, but we still play, and especially now there's nowhere to play. So it's been tough, but we're trying to cope, and I've been working out slowly and getting into it.
Definitely different doesn't make it easy. You guys talked about playing together. That was at University of Ottawa, right?
Yes. No. Me and Seth, we played together in high school. Like
high school.
Our last year we played together, and after that, both of us went to, like, we play at CJEP, like in Quebec, you have to go through CJEP.
Yeah.
I went to Champlain, he went to Vanier, and then after that, Seth went to UNB
UNB for a year.
And after that,
and then I transferred to Cape Breton University, which is in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And while I was transferring, Kenny was going into university. So with a little bit of talking and convincing him, he decided to join. And then we both went to Cape Breton University in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, and then after that, Seth was done, and then me, I still had years of eligibility. So that's why I transferred to Ottawa, because I wanted to be.
Okay, because that's doing the research, I saw you played for.
Yeah.
I actually, for very short period of time, I actually was in Sandy Hill, living in that.
Oh
area.
Yeah. I was there for 2 years.
I was there for a few months.
Okay.
But, it's a cool area. I liked it. What was? I'll start with you, Seth. What was to you the most valuable experience you gained playing college basketball, university level basketball, that's imparted on your life at this point?
To this day, I still use a lot of things I've learned in basketball. Whether it's being in a team or being a leader or just everything within. Like I said, like in our podcast, I try to make our kids understand in our podcast, Paving the Way, that just don't play basketball just for the sport, but also do whatever you're doing on the court or off the court related to basketball, you can use it also in life, because that's what I was able to do. And that's what Kenny was able to do, so that's one of the reasons why we started this Paving the Way, is try to help kids now in the generation, that because when they go on social media, all they see is the glamour, the glitz, the highlights, but they don't see what's the back end of it, right? They think it just comes just like that, but they don't know the hard work that goes into. You got to be good in school in order to play. You gotta, there's a lot of things with that. Basketball has, like I said, in general, it helped me so much in every aspect of my life. Yeah.
Kenny, what's something about Seth as a basketball player that he doesn't want us talking about?
Probably
chill.
Because Seth, the thing is, Seth is a great defensive player, and on all the team that me and Seth we play together, he was always the best player. So, but when you score on him, trust me, he's gonna get mad and he's not gonna let you score again. So I would say probably when you score on him, that's something he doesn't
take kindly.
Yeah, take kindly, exactly. So I would say that.
I don't show it, but it's in here.
And me, one of the biggest lessons that I got from, I guess, playing ball, university and even high school, is how to deal with different type of person. Because right now I'm a teacher and everyone's different. With some kids, you have to be, I don't know I'm French, sorry, but you have to be more maybe mean and more kind with different type of student and players. So I would say just deal with different type of people and different type of personality. That's maybe something that I really learned while playing basketball, because you play with people who's from Quebec, people from different country, different provinces. So not everyone have the same background, and you need to adapt your leadership skills when you, I guess, talk to them and when you play with them. So.
For sure. Definitely valuable lessons. So obviously the talk with no actual sports going on, we did get UFC back, we did get NASCAR and golf back, but obviously this is the time of year where the three of us for sure would definitely be enjoying playoff basketball. Luckily, Netflix and ESPN did drop The Last Dance early for our consumption, but it's over. So 5 weeks just flew by. So I wanted to get your opinions on it and some of the topics that were covered. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My wife is a lot younger than me, so it was cool to. And she's not a basketball fan, but it was kind of cool to for her to sort of see why I admire Michael Jordan, and he's not just a shoe guy and a meme. He's also a guy who's pretty excellent at basketball. Yeah. But so for you guys, I'm kind of curious to see how you took it, what you guys thought, and then I have a couple of specific issues too that I thought might be interesting to talk about as well.
Yeah.
Said both.
I mean,
Yeah, I'll do. Sorry, it's easier when we do these things in studio, but we can't use nonverbal communication. I'll try by person. Why don't you start us off, Kenny?
Me, it's just the mindset of Michael Jordan, like the way like he was fearless and he did not took no as an answer. Like he wanted to win by any means. And me, it's just like if you want something, it can be anybody, it can be outside of basketball, it can be on any field that you take. If you really want to do something, if you put your mind into it, you're gonna be able to achieve it. That's the, I guess, main thing that I guess learned and took from the documentary. But one thing, like I'm a LeBron guy, and I know there's a bunch of LeBron fans who changed their view on who's the greatest player ever. But personally, I think LeBron is still the GOAT. But I guess it kind of changed. It kind of changed a little bit. But I think I still have LeBron number one. It's just.
Well, look. I mean, look, I'm lucky enough. I'm lucky enough by being old that I got to sort of watch both guys in their prime. And when I watched LeBron, what was cool is I saw someone defensively. That's something I had never seen before. And also he did a lot of things that MJ did, but he did it 70 pounds heavier. You know what I mean? So it's a difference when you're guarding a guy who's like 6'6", 210 pounds. Oh, but then this guy's coming in at like 6'8", 270. LeBron in his absolute physical peak was just something to behold. Seth, what were your thoughts?
To be honest with you, one thing I really admired, I don't know why, but is Phil Jackson as a coach. I was like, wow, like to be able to he was put in a position to coach at that time the greatest basketball player playing, you know, and then everyone else that was coming in. So one of the guys, I would say Rodman, which is not very easy to coach, you know, on and off the court. So is the way he would handle Rodman, you know, is just so like it was. I guess that's what every player dreams of, a coach understanding him, you know, like I want to, like Rodman knew Phil and the rest of the guys get him, you know, and then because no matter what he did off the court, when it was game time or whatever, he was there and he had Michael's back, and Michael knew that, you know. And I guess, like I said, Phil Jackson, and for everything that was happening, especially with Jerry Krause not wanting to bring him back, and he still coached the last year like as if nothing was happening, like, you know, still did his job, and how they handle it very professionally. Phil Jackson, I guess that's the reason why he has 11 rings. Right? So
that's it. Is that he then goes on to coach the egos of Kobe and Shaq, and like the whole thing you mentioned, Jerry Krause. The thing I was laughing at the entire time. I get it. Jerry Krause, he was the villain. He looks like a villain. Yeah. Michael Jordan basically made the villain of Space Jam look like him.
Yes.
I get it. But Jerry Reinsdorf had the final say. He could have re-signed Scottie Pippen. He could have made Michael happy. He could have re-signed Phil Jackson. But, like, you know, he gets off scot-free, and everyone's hating a dead man in Jerry Krause.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was like, it kind of sucks because while I was watching he's not here, he's not alive.
He can't defend himself, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm like, why the whole documentary is just Krause is evil.
Yeah.
So I'm like I'm sure there's two sides to every story, right? So I was like, I want to hear his side, you know, what was going, like, you know, but yeah.
Exactly.
That sucks.
Kenny, do you think it hurts his legacy that it's no longer the flu game and it's now the pizza game?
Because food poisoning is like, it's still hard to play. Like you wanna, I guess, shit, you wanna puke, you wanna do all that stuff, and you still manage to drop 30 plus and win. And Pippen was hurt games 6. Like it's still like, I guess, amazing. And the only lesson is, if you're in the NBA and you play against Utah Jazz at their home, don't order pizza.
I was just right before this pandemic and all that. I had gone to Colombia and I got food poisoning the second last day. All I had to do was day drink, and I couldn't even do that. So I can't imagine playing basketball in that condition. There's something else, and I have an article coming out actually on hotsaucesports.ca. It'll be coming out shortly. one of the things that's talked about, of course, it was cool because I had always heard the myth that Michael Jordan said Republicans buy shoes too. And what I found interesting about that was Michael Jordan and guys like Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, they're expected to champion causes, but we never put pressure on. Like nobody asks, I'm trying to think now. Who can I like? Dan Marino. Nobody asks Peyton Manning, why aren't you standing up for minorities? They make it the obligation for a minority to do that.
Yeah.
And obviously, I want to ask you guys, being that you're both basketball players, being that you're both MJ fans, even though Kenny and I obviously like LeBron.
I'm an MJ fan. I'm an MJ fan too.
But so, like, what do you guys think of that in terms of the obligation as visible minorities, having the added pressure for these celebrities to have to do that and being given no choice? Seth?
I mean, it's tough. It's a very tough position to be in. Like I said, being a minority and people are expecting you to do something, expecting you to I guess support someone. Like example, I'm black, so I should vote for Obama if I was in the States. That's like it's like, I guess when what was good was. It's tough because I don't want to say something and then people are gonna be like, oh, who is this guy? All this talking on this hot sauce. It's tough because I do understand
we say so much more shit that gets us in trouble. So
oh, yeah? Okay. Like it's tough because like I did really understand Michael. I understood him like completely. I get him, and to be honest with you, I kind of agree with him a little bit. I was like, yes, like why should he, because he's a minority, do that? Why? It makes no sense at all. No sense. But that's just the world we live in, right? Like if he doesn't follow everyone's expectations socially, then I guess everyone just starts talking. Yeah, it's tough. And him being Jordan, a public figure the way he was and an ambassador around the world, like it was just, I guess it was really harder on him. So I don't know.
Yeah, like the guy's always got microphones in his face.
Yeah,
and look, he's a businessman. He's trying to make the most for him and his family. That's his first obligation above all. Right?
Yeah.
I found it also really weird. His family was barely in it. Juanita, his first wife, wasn't in the documentary at all. So there was some odd choices from a documentarian point of view.
He controlled everything. He controlled everything.
He apparently didn't say no to anything, but because it's an authorized biography, I imagine like Kenny, if you're interviewing me and there's like some stuff in my past, and I'm like, yeah, Kenny, ask me anything, but you might not want to ask me some stuff that
exactly
tough, right? Like in the case of Juanita, like Michael Jordan cheated on his wife and they got divorced, right? Like that can't be something that he necessarily would have wanted to talk to MJ about, There was a quote that came out by Channing Frye. He was essentially saying that in today's NBA, a lot of guys wouldn't want to play with a guy like Michael because, he's intense, but he also could be kind of a jerk. And in the end, you want to enjoy the people you're with. What are your thoughts when you hear someone like that? Someone say that about Michael Jordan.
That they would not want to play with him.
Enjoy playing in that environment.
Like he went to the final 6 times and won 6 times. Like me, if I'm in the NBA, it's to win rings and make money. So I don't think like he's the ultimate competitor. So personally, if I was in the NBA, I would want to play with him. And I guess if you don't want to play with the greatest player, second greatest player ever, I think there's a problem with you. So like you're a man. If you're in the NBA, it's like no boys allowed. So if you're a boy, you stay just play with me and Seth and garage league. So
Eagle, see, like when I'm a jerk to you, it's because I want us to be the best podcast.
I don't believe it for a second.
Eagle, just so you guys know, Eagle and I have been working together on podcasts for about 6 years. This is our second podcast together. We also do a flag. We work for a flag football league where we host a weekly podcast. So he's had to deal with me for 6 years. That's not an easy task for anyone. So Eagle is 6 for 6 also, and just being able to tolerate me. There's a couple quick things I want to touch on before we go, guys. Mark Cuban, I heard him today talk about the potential return for basketball. I think it's going to be complicated because different states are going to have different laws. He had ideas about using like hotel facilities, maybe having facilities built at Disneyland, and having players like essentially locked into an area, given everything that's happening with the COVID-19 pandemic. Seth, do you think these players will actually isolate and not want to hit up whoever slides up in their DMs?
Oh man, it's funny because didn't the players have a conference about I think last week or Monday, last week Monday, about kind of restarting? They want to come back, but then it's like I'm like safety first, guys. Safety first. Basketball, yes, basketball will be there after all this is done. You know, you might not so like safety first before we even start playing or anything, because I guess the owners are right now, I guess all they think about is money. You know, they're losing a lot of money, right? A lot of money, right? The NBA. So, but no, I wouldn't, like, if I was Mark, I don't agree with that, them playing in Disney World and isolating themselves. The last 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks, and then they'll start, like you said, the first person that slides in their DMs, they'll start like. Yeah,
it'll be. You know, hey, how serious is this anyway? Exactly. And the thing I think about is, you know, they didn't let Chris Bosh play because of blood clots, and that was one player. Because the liability of letting one athlete die on national television, this would be, you're risking the lives of not only all the players but all the people involved with the production and all the people that work with them in terms of coaches and staff and so on and so forth. There's also a talk about the NCAA return. Now, to me, this is extra tricky. And I want to get you guys' thoughts. I'll start with you, Kenny, just because you guys were college athletes. College athletics in the United States, especially basketball, especially football, we know it's big business. But if they're not going to have classes, to me, it appears as though you're saying that the lives of athletes are less important, of unpaid college athletes is less important than the students who are not attending class. To me, at that point, they become strictly employees, and they're strictly employees that you're not paying while making money off their backs. So that's my perspective. You guys know right off the bat, I'm not hiding it.
You're not,
No. So let you go, Kenny. What do you think about the potential return?
Same thing. Like, if there's no school, I think no basketball, no football, no soccer. Like, why? Like you said, like, why we don't get paid? First of all, you guys make money off us, and you guys want us to go on the field and risk our life, and just for you guys to make money. I don't think that's fair. So no school, no sports. That's me. So
makes sense.
Seth, any thoughts?
No, that makes sense. It's completely sense. Like, like if that's the thing, because a lot of athletes out there, all they know is sports, right? That's all they know. Nothing else. You know, they don't know nothing else. You know, and this kind of brings me back to when Pippen signing his deal, and just, you know, not thinking. You know, so like the same thing. Like, a lot of these players, like, if you tell them, oh, just go, you'll get to play basketball for the whole year. I'm sure in the States, a lot of them be like, okay, you know, not thinking, and be like, oh no, I don't want to, you know, but then, like you said, it's completely not fair, because the owner, the NCAA for sure are not really fully being honest with their, you know, with the teams and how much money they make off the players. So I don't agree with that either. So no.
I mean, we just need them to pay them so we can get NCAA basketball back on PlayStation, and I'll be happy. I can finally play it and not feel guilty.
Good times.
Guys, you guys, we are Kenny Jean-Louis, Seth Amoah. You guys are on a podcast called Paving the Way. It is a bilingual basketball podcast. You've had Kevin Blaine on. You've had Kemi Ose on. Episode 3 dropped earlier this week, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yesterday was with Kenny Fretcheri, which is playing right now at Pro First Division.
Cool. And what's on tap for episode 4?
Episode 4 is we're actually going a different route. I don't want to say who we're interviewing. It'll be different than our first 3 episodes. It's just if you want to know more, I guess follow us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, and you'll see. You know, it's actually we're gonna drop I guess, who we're doing probably in the next 2 days. So
Yeah.
It's been an excellent show so far. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a basketball nut, so I'm really, really enjoying it. Do recommend it. If you're bilingual, you'll really like it. If you're not, just shut up and listen. It's awesome. Thank you, Kenny Jean-Louis, Seth Amoah, for joining me and Eagle. Eagle, I don't know how to sign off on these. I have never done this before. What do I do?
I think that's it.
I don't got any musical cues or anything, man.
Nothing at all.
Can you like hum? All right, thank you everyone for listening. This has been Peeze, Eagle with the boys from Paving the Way. Check it out. You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.